Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to today's special edition, Pearl Harbor Day edition of Up Ship Creek. So we're going to talk about the USS Vestal, just a little bit about it. You can watch histories on it in other places, but I'm going to show you my 1/350th scale version of the USS Vestal as she appeared at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. So, by the way, I'm wearing my festive USS Utah gear today. So, stick with Mad Dog Merv and let's take a look at the 1/350th scale Vestal that I built.
So here is the box the kit came in. I want to say it was 15 years ago I got it, but it could have been even longer. Honestly, I was so happy when this came out though in 3/50th scale. It's a full hull. So if I was going to put it in a diorama, I'd have to do some work, but I was happy to see a bunch of extra parts in it as well. You'll see the quality of the casting here in a minute. So there's only a couple of pictures of the Vestal that exist as she appeared on December 7th, 1941. There's pictures of her afterwards that, of course, have additions to her and pictures before where there's other things on her, but these are the only couple of pictures of her during the attack. We can see a lot of detail in these pictures here. Now, the Vestal was launched on May 19th of 1908 and placed in service in October of 1909 as the Vestal, but it was a collier at first. It was taken out of service in 1912 and converted to a repair ship, the Fleet Repair Ship number 4, on September of 1913, and then again redesignated in 1920 as AR-4. So after it survived the war, and after the war, it was decommissioned in August of 1946 and eventually scrapped in 1950. You can see in these pictures here from the Pearl Harbor attack a little bit of detail here and there, but not enough to get everything right that I need to get right. So I've tried to do as much research as possible and as much reading as possible. So if there's some mistakes, forgive me. So in this picture the Japanese took, it's kind of grainy, but you can see the Vestal very clear next to the Arizona. You can see she's got her awnings on the forecastle and then also on the aft end, but there's a little white square by the bridge, and that's actually a projection screen, and I have to add that to mine. So here we go. Here's the model, and as you can see already right off the side, there's some little pipes there that have broken over time. I'm going to need to replace those. It didn't come with a stand, so I went ahead and made this stand in this style that I'm really into right now. I think it turned out pretty good, and it sits nice and even. So here is the forward part of the ship. Now these chains, I don't remember if they came with the kit or if they're just some I had. They look a little big to me. I will probably change them out and definitely need to change them to black. But you can see the 5-inch 51 guns, and in the forward tub I went ahead and put a couple of 50s, although I think those were Lewis guns. Anyway, you'll notice the coloring on mine. So a lot of people have talked about how, well, it's supposed to be gray with the just natural wood deck. But if you look at the photo here and the shirts that the guys are wearing, you'll notice there's not a lot of contrast difference between that and the ship. And so I chose to go ahead and do mine in the Battle Measure 11, which is the 5S, and I chose to go ahead and do the camouflage decks in the deck blue. So if anyone takes issue with that, please feel free to run that through Tracy White, Steve Wiper, some of those other guys. Mr. Schneider, from Schneider and Short. Yeah, all of these guys that are experts on ships camouflage. Nobody has really definitively been able to pin it down to one thing or the other. So, in what research I've done, I decided to go ahead and do it in the Battle Measure 11. You'll notice the linoleum decks up on the superstructure area, which I thoroughly believe these ships had at this period of time. So again, if you think I'm nuts, please find some photos and prove me wrong. I would love it. So here is the aft end, and you can see it's definitely not as detailed as the picture. For one thing, I'm missing some ventilators, some tall, skinny ventilators that are near the mast, the rear mast. And I've got those coming from Black Cat. They are 3D printed, and I should be able to get those on in the next day or two. You'll see, yeah, there's definitely some detail missing back here. The ship's boats, I believe there was only 2 or 3 on board at the time of the attack, because of course most of them were out in the harbor taking people to and from different places. So I do need to add another boat or two to this, but definitely not going to add a full complement of ship's boats. Here you can see I tried to simulate with some Liquitex gloss heavy gel, high gloss heavy gel. I put a little bit of that on these little round skylights, and I also filled in my my portholes with it to give it kind of a glassy look, like portholes should really have, instead of just being a drilled hole. So you'd have to see how you feel about the results there. And then here is my 551s on the aft end, and that 3-inch gun on the aft end as well. Most of the photo etch on this, I think it did come with some photo etch, and I've had to add a few pieces, a couple of ladders and whatnot. As you can see, I still have at least one more boat to put on here, and I definitely have some more details to put into this ship. But overall, it is displayable the way that it is. I do need to put that projection screen up, and you can see my portholes there on the bridge, how you feel about them. The ladders that came with the ship, and here's a great shot bow on of this particular ship. One thing you notice though is it does definitely look gray in this lighting. However, here in a moment you'll see that it definitely looks blue in this particular shot. Thanks for joining us, folks, and hope you have a great day.